The pen clicked twice before I realized it was being aimed at me. My name is Evelyn Harper, I'm 29. When did love start sounding like a unanimous vote against me? The boardroom smelled like lemon polish and old confidence. My mother slid the contract across the glass table with one finger, careful not to touch my hand. She smiled the way she used to at charity galas, chin lifted, eyes empty. Sign it over to your cousin, she said, already glancing away. My father didn't look up from his tablet. The screen reflected in the window behind him, multiplying his silence. The board agreed, he said. You're no longer needed. No one asked a question. No one cleared their throat. The city hummed 16 floors below us, patient and indifferent. I noticed the red folder at the end of the table. Mine once, now turned backward like a mirror that refused to show my face. I laughed. It surprised even me. So, you sold the software? My mother waved her hand, bracelets clinking softly. We sold the company. The chair beside me creaked like it was waiting for something to happen. At the far end, a quiet man closed his folder. The sound landed heavier than any shout. He stood, adjusted his glasses and met my eyes, not theirs. Actually, he said calmly, you sold a shell. In that moment, watching my family avoid my reflection in the glass, I understood something colder than anger. They hadn't just removed me from the table. They'd mistaken ownership for possession. The word shell hung in the room, thin and sharp. My mother blinked first. Excuse me. Her voice carried the same tone she used with waiters who brought the wrong wine. The man didn't repeat himself. He simply opened the folder again and slid a single page forward. No logo. No letterhead. Just dense text and my signature at the bottom, written years ago when I still believed blood meant backup. The operating system, he said, tapping the page once, was never transferred to the company. It's licensed. Exclusively. By her. My father finally looked up. His eyes found mine like they were searching for a reflection that should have been there all along. That's not possible, he said. Too quickly. I stayed quiet. Silence had always been my better defense. The glass wall behind them turned the city into a blur of light and movement. I caught my own reflection this time, still, composed, scarf folded neatly at my wrist like a reminder. The sale closed at $1.1 billion, the man continued. For infrastructure, brand, staff. But the core software. He paused. That remains her intellectual property. My cousin shifted in his seat. Not much. Just enough for me to notice. You said everything was clean, he murmured, not to me. The chair beside me stopped creaking. It felt solid now. Across the table, my mother's bracelets were suddenly very loud. Evelyn, she said carefully, why don't you explain what he means? I met her eyes, calm settling where grief used to sit. I think, I said softly, you should let him finish. The air conditioner clicked on, then off. It sounded nervous. The man cleared his throat, almost apologetic. For clarity, he said, the company sold today cannot legally operate the product it's known for. Not without her consent. My father stood up so fast his chair skidded back. The sound was sharp, wrong. You're telling me, he said, pointing at the page, that after 20 years... After 20 years, the man interrupted gently, you still never owned the code. I watched my mother's smile tighten, fracture at the edges. She reached for the contract again, flipped pages too quickly, like speed might rearrange reality. This is standard, she said. Founders assign IP all the time. I didn't, I said. My voice surprised the room. Steady. Small. You asked me to license it. You said it was temporary. My cousin finally looked at me. His mouth opened, closed. Evie, he whispered, using the name he only remembered when he needed something. The scarf at my wrist slipped loose. I let it fall. It landed on the floor between us like a boundary no one wanted to cross. The man continued, voice even. The acquiring party will expect full operational control by Monday. And, my mother snapped. And as of Monday, he said, closing the folder again, they won't have a functioning product. Silence spread. Thick. Heavy. The kind that presses against your ears. My father looked at me then, not angry. Afraid. What do you want? He asked. I met his gaze, finally seeing myself clearly in the glass behind him. I haven't decided yet. No one sat down. The city outside kept moving, unaware it had just become leverage. A siren wailed somewhere far below, then faded. I folded the scarf once, slowly, and placed it on the table. The fabric softened the glass between us. The man at the end checked his watch. "I should mention," he said, "there's a 96-hour cure period before breach is formally declared." My mother exhaled, relieved too soon. "Good. Then we'll sort this out privately." He shook his head. "Privately won't help. The buyers will want a name on a license." All eyes turned to me. It felt theatrical, almost rehearsed, like a scene they'd practiced without me. I noticed my father's hands shaking slightly as he clasped them together. He used to steady mine when I was learning to ride a bike. "Evelyn," he said, softer now. "Be reasonable." Reasonable. The word tasted old. I remembered the night I slept under my desk, the chair angled toward me like it was keeping watch. I remembered being told next quarter after launch, family first. I said. My cousin swallowed. "We can compensate you," he offered. "Fairly." The man raised an eyebrow. "That depends on your definition of fair." Silence again. Even the air conditioner seemed to hold its breath. I stood, smoothing my jacket. The glass caught my reflection, clear this time. Unblurred. "I'll need to review the buyer's expectations," I said. "And my options." My mother's voice cracked. "Just slightly. You'd do this to us?" I paused at the door, hand on the handle. "I didn't," I said. "I just didn't give it away." The hallway outside the boardroom felt narrower than before. Carpet muted my footsteps, like the building was trying not to overhear what it already knew. Behind the glass I could still see them frozen around the table. My parents, my cousin, the empty chair where I used to belong. The scarf remained there, a small soft thing dividing $1 billion. My phone vibrated once. Then again. I didn't look. At the elevator, the quiet man joined me. He didn't crowd my space. Just stood beside me, hands folded, patient as a sealed envelope. "For what it's worth," he said, "you handled that well." The doors opened with a sigh. We stepped in. The mirror inside showed my face from an angle I didn't usually see. Calm, almost distant. Like someone who'd already left. "They're calling the buyers," he added, trying to frame this as a misunderstanding. "And?" I asked. "And misunderstandings don't usually come with signed licensing clauses." The elevator descended. Numbers lit, then disappeared. When the doors opened again, my phone vibrated harder this time. A voicemail icon. From my mother. I imagined her voice before hearing it. Controlled, careful, edged with panic. "I'll listen later," I said. Outside the lobby buzzed. Laughter. Coffee cups. A company celebrating itself. As I walked past the front desk, I realized something quietly devastating. For the first time they needed me, and I no longer needed to explain myself. My phone buzzed again. This time a text. "We should talk. Before this goes public." I stopped walking. I stood there long enough for the lobby noise to rearrange itself around me. Laughter rose, fell. A printer chirped. Somewhere, a coffee grinder screamed like it was being punished. I listened to all of it instead of my phone. Silence, I'd learned, was a choice. The quiet man waited a few steps behind me. He didn't rush. He understood timing. "They're asking for a meeting," I said finally. "Off the record." He nodded. "The buyers are asking for documentation." "On the record." That landed differently. I walked outside. Cold air cut through my jacket, sharp and clean. The building's glass doors reflected me again, this time flanked by my own shadow. The scarf was gone, but the outline of it still felt warm against my wrist. My phone buzzed once more. A new message, not from my mother. "This is counsel for Meridian Capital. We've been informed there may be an IP discrepancy." So it had reached them. I typed slowly. "Happy to clarify." In writing. Across the street, my cousin's car pulled up too fast, stopping crooked at the curb. He got out, tie loosened, eyes scanning until they found me. He opened his mouth, then closed it when he saw the man beside me. "Evie," he said too loud. "Please." I didn't answer. I just forwarded the message thread to the lawyer standing next to me. "Let's," I said, "make it clear." The city seemed to lean in. The cafe across the street was too bright, all glass and noise. We chose it anyway. My cousin sat before anyone told him to. His knee bounced under the table, tapping a rhythm he couldn't control. I noticed how loud it was once I stopped talking. Sound has a way of betraying people. The quiet man placed a slim recorder between us. For accuracy, he said. He didn't press play yet. I didn't mean for it to go this far, my cousin said. His voice cracked, then steadied. We thought you'd sign. You always did. I wrapped my hands around the warm mug in front of me. The heat grounded me. You never asked if I would, I said. You just planned for it. He looked down. The reflection in the tabletop caught his face, warped. The buyers are threatening to freeze the funds, he whispered. If you revoke the license. I won't revoke it, I said. His head snapped up. I'll redefine it. The recorder clicked on. The sound felt ceremonial. Non-transferable, the lawyer said calmly. Time limited. Directly to the acquiring entity. Not the family. My cousin's shoulders slumped. What about us? I thought of the boardroom. The contract sliding away from me. The chair waiting. There is no us in the paperwork, I said. Outside, a delivery truck hissed as it braked. Silence followed. Thick final. My phone lit up on the table. A single message from my mother. They're asking who owns the future. I looked at the screen, then turned it face down. The future arrived quietly. No courtrooms. No raised voices. Just revised documents and careful language. Meridian Capital licensed the software directly from me, on terms that couldn't be inherited, borrowed, or misunderstood. The company my family sold kept its offices, its name, its celebration photos. Everything except the engine that made it matter. The press called it a strategic restructuring. My mother called twice and left one voicemail. I didn't listen. Some formats don't deserve replies. Weeks later, I walked past the building again. Different logo. Same glass. Inside, new people leaned over the same desks, learning the system from scratch. The chair I once slept beside was gone. The space looked lighter without it. The scarf returned to my wrist that morning, folded just right. A habit, not a wound. I didn't take revenge by destroying anything. I let everyone keep exactly what they'd chosen. Money without control. Ownership without understanding. Legacy without authorship. At home, I opened my laptop. The software greeted me the way it always had, patient, precise. Still mine. Still listening. For the first time, I didn't feel replaced or removed or rewritten. I felt correctly placed.